This is a fact. And like I said, we would have been many steps ahead if not for that team.
Hello and welcome to the MFN podcast. I love it when something has continuity, and this has continuity. And of course, the co-founder of this podcast and somebody who's sort of seen it all. Ayesha Shroff, thank you, ma'am, for joining us once again.
Thank you, Salil.
This has actually taken another world of its own. I was just discussing with Krishna also a few days back as well. Where we can't reach, we've been able to reach with this. Where television has a limited viewership on geographical boundaries or, some things. Today, the audio platform is to everybody. Were you also a little bit skeptical at one time when you were thinking about audio to reach out to the world?
No, actually, this was always part of the plan, but we were always doing so much firefighting that we didn't have the space, the bandwidth to get into it. But now, thanks to you coming on board, it's been very smooth. So
have you been a Joe Rogan podcast fan?
Always, always, yeah.
You know what he does, right? 5-hour podcasts.
I wasn't aware of that.
But some of them he does is 4 or 5 hours. When
that's
they
crazy.
And the point is, when people say that is the attention span long enough, he's the most watched thing, not show, thing online. 4 or 5 hours.
Crazy.
And so they're cooking food and the entire process of cooking is there. So one day we'll do that. We'll shoot this where from the time of cutting the meat or the vegetable till the finishing of the cooking. It's going to be part of the podcast. But we come to this, one of the biggest asked questions always is, for all sports promotions, it happens to athletes also when they start doing a lot of ads, they'll say, itna paisa kama rahe ho, you should only do this. When a league does well, even cricket, there were question marks there. There's always financial irregularities. Somehow they always go hand in hand, and it's always been something that we discussed. Well, there'll be frauds and scams and fraudsters. You still live and fight and survive. You've had your fair share of that. You've seen it all around you as well. How does one put a stop to that, or can there never ever be a stop to that?
No, I think it all kind of begins at the top, really. And at MFN we haven't seen that kind of money yet. That's worthy of a scam, so to speak. But the thing is, yes. I think as a family, Jackie, Tiger, Krishna and myself, we are extremely straight people, and we hope that the teams around us are equally straight, And frankly speaking, I mean, by the grace of God, we don't really need to do this for the money.
Yes.
We do it for the passion and we do it for the legacy.
True.
So that's as far as MFN is concerned. Of course, the sport, MMA itself, in this country, it's had its fair share of frauds associated. And I think we have, in fact, seen that recently at MFN as well.
Yes.
So that has succeeded where MMA in this country should have been. We haven't been able to get there because of these frauds. So, right from the start, there have been these organizations that claim to be there for the officials, for the fighters, and that's all bullshit. They're in it for themselves.
True.
And they have portrayed themselves to be something that they are not. So they have defrauded poor fighters, they have defrauded officials, and they have made it so politically murky that unfortunately there is a stain on the sport, and the biggest sufferers are the fighters.
True.
So at MFN, from day one, we've said that we're doing this for the fighters, to raise them up to that level where they are competing on a global platform. And over the last few days, we have done a lot of spring cleaning, so to say, at MFN.
Pretty much demolition and then rebuilding a house.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we've thrown out the trash now, and currently it's my daughter and myself. We've taken the reins in our hands now.
How does that feel now to have? I asked this exact question, that the Chariot is now in your hands. I mean, the last month or so leading up to MFN, which is just a few weeks away, how's that been for you? I mean, have you now suddenly realized, oh my God, this is really large, what we are doing?
I do believe, without any arrogance, that the resurrection of MMA in India is due to MFN.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
and this is a fact. And like I said, we would have been many steps ahead if not for that team that literally pulled us back. And to be very honest, from MFN 9, I have been silently observing what's been going on. And somehow there was a wall created between myself and the rest of the MMA community. Perhaps it was to ensure that I wouldn't be made aware of what is actually going on, the crap that's been going on. But then I decided to kick through that wall. And when I started doing my own digging, I realized that old habits die hard. And these people, what they have been doing to fighters in our country, officials in our country, right from day one, they've been trying to do it with MFN as well, and albeit on a much larger scale, because now the budgets are much bigger. And you know, I was like, guys, I'm done. I'm done. And we chucked out the trash, like I said. Krishna and I have done a whole spring cleaning. We've got a fantastic team of people around us who are so trustworthy, who work in a transparent way. We've streamlined everything, and it feels incredible now, you know. And what was made to be such a big deal with every event is not a big deal, you know. It was just like, you know, wool over our eyes, you know, literally. So
Tell me about your DMs now. You know, the poor officials and the fighters and everyone's reaching out, figuring out, listen, I wasn't the one who was tainted, and I swear we had no choice. A lot of the times that it happens, you know, you follow the one who's in command or who claims to be in command, and you just do as you're told to do. So there's a lot of that also has come to try and win back the Shroff family trust as well, and which is why I think, because this podcast goes out to so many, and I think at the end of this episode, I would love to hear messages that come across, and we relay them across straight. But a lot of that also must be happening. Clearing of name and all that, you must be very, you must be overawed also by saying, oh my God, you know, just roll back the clock.
I just think that I've always believed in an open dialogue, you know. I don't claim to know everything about everything, right? And I just believe that when there's communication and there's transparency and honesty, it just makes life much easier. So when Krishna and I took over, the first thing we did was we put out our intentions on social media, you know. We put it out there that, you know, hey, fighters, if you've got a record on Tapology, this is the number, this is an email, send us your records, send us your info, we'll put it on our database, which had never happened till now, which is so bizarre. We did the same thing with officials, because there are great officials all over the country, outside India as well, you know, who have been reaching out. But those messages never came to Krishna or I, you know, for whatever reason. So now we've got this incredible base of fighters. We've got this incredible base of officials, you know, and now we have the podcast to put the message out there even more.
A direct one-on-one.
It's direct one-on-one. Well, I wish that personally we could go through each resume, so to speak, you know, just Krishna and I, but by God's grace, I mean, the response has been incredible. And when we put out those messages, our server crashed. You know, in literally 2 hours, we got like 3,000 plus CVs that came in, 3,000 plus Tapology records, you know, which is incredible.
For those that don't know MMA and are just tuning in, which would be great, which is fantastic, we want new people to tune in. Is that the official listing, the Tapology records? How does that work, and what's the authenticity of that?
So there are a couple online, you know, where you know, the fighters' records, win, loss, draw, no contest, or fight cancelled, or whatever it is. These records are maintained on certain websites, but the most authentic, I believe today, is Tapology, because they don't consider records of a promotion that doesn't have a certain standing.
Right,
you
that's
know?
important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can fight very below average fighters.
Yeah.
Then you can have a 10-0.
Yeah, exactly. So that really wouldn't make sense. But you know, I'm so happy to say that they recognize MFN. And every time we have an event, I think within 48 hours the records are uploaded. So that's great. Yeah.
You know, I think I'm excited to see 4 or 5 promotions down the line Within MMA also, there'll be an MFN ranking separate.
For sure.
I think you should have that as well.
For sure. It's on the agenda.
And then those boys that are fighting within the MFN will also then look to say, okay, who's the best amongst us as well, because we're the best of the rest. And that'll be awesome. You know, when you talk about also spreading the message across, now that you've seen this, you know, what happens in sports that could go wrong also, do you think that it's possible to keep it within, like of the family, and still be able to carry it forward to make it so big, like say the UFC? When did that transition, was the UFC also like within, like Vince McMahon did that as well. The WWE was within a family.
That's right.
And the crazy part is UFC's bought over WWE.
Yeah.
And he kept it all within the family and grew it to that level.
Absolutely.
Do you think that that's the kind of model you're following?
I think at this point in time, yes, definitely. Because this is still a baby that we need to nurture and protect. But however, that doesn't work once you really explode, you know. So down the line, of course, we're looking at strategic partnerships. We're looking at bringing in investment into the brand. And well, those people are going to want their people on the board as well.
True.
And like I said, you know, it's about picking and choosing the right kind of people you work with, the right mindset. And I think if you align all of that, there's no reason why we can't continue doing it in a perfectly stressless,
free,
kind
totally,
of stress-free environment. And you know, it should be fun coming to work every day. You know, and after the initial few days of the whole clean-up operation. For Krishna and I, going to work together in the morning is the best feeling ever, you know.
It's incredible also. Can you imagine, after all these years, your baby girl is there working with you, sitting with you, and it's incredible. And that's why I said, when you look at the WWE structure, it'll be awesome. You'll have a Stephanie, you'll have a Shane, you'll have a Vince. It'll be awesome if you could actually take it out there and maintain. Because I think that's a case study in how he managed to keep it in the family, and every time he felt it was going down, he would do something himself.
Yeah, that's true.
Including his stand. It was amazing. You know, so much is being said about, you know, that once a month that you're trying to think about.
Yeah.
At this pace, do you think that you'll be able to reach that stage really, maybe sooner than what people think?
Absolutely, absolutely. The kind of feedback we got in the last 2 weeks, the kind of people reaching out to us, and saying, you know, like, you guys, you've done the best thing ever by kind of rejigging and reworking the whole brand. We're there, you know, and forget the we're there. Checks have started coming in, you know, which is great. And, you know, so it's fantastic. So I do believe, yes, we did go back a few steps, but now the turbo is on and we're out.
All right, Fast and Furious, watch out, we're coming. But I'm going to end this podcast asking a very important question also. When people become successful, does money still excite? Yes, I know you want it for like the promotion, and I know you're completely for that. But does it excite you as it used to excite you maybe say 25 years ago, when you're making it with a thought and a new brand and a new idea? If it does well, it excites. A lot of very successful businessmen, after a point of time, it's about their brand, their name, their legacy that they want to leave behind. And of course, if the money comes along. With Ayesha, what's that?
So for me personally, money is all important. The dreams, the vision, without the money to back it, it just remains a dream, you know. So let's be real, money is everything, and money is power. And but all of that said, there is nothing more important than respect and leaving a legacy.
And I think you've already done that. Every single fighter sort of swears by her name, which is what you'll be able to see. All these 3,000 plus DMs that came in there. Over the weeks that we keep on doing this podcast, you'll be able to see that love. And I guarantee this time when you see MFN 12, you'll see a difference in the vibe that will be there. It'll be a very different vibe. Of course, when they're watching the fights, as Krishna always says, don't disturb her. But after the fight, there's always some space. So remember, all platforms, it's available on Spotify, on Google, on Apple, whichever ones you subscribe to. And of course, it's completely free. In India, podcasts are free, you know, so you don't need to subscribe or pay money to sort of listen to them. But don't forget to watch all these episodes on video as well on Disney Plus Hotstar. This time we're going completely the full Monty. Audio and visual everywhere. So watch out for that. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thanks, Salil.
We've got all these fighter bits that we're going to talk about. In fact, some people have done such incredible sacrifices to reach the MFN. And once they reach the MFN, also sometimes they might not have performed that they want to perform. So those stories coming up in the weeks ahead. So keep watching and bye-bye.